everyone. So I guess people waited for my upload from my friends and family that posted. I was supposed to do this yesterday, but I didn't get a chance to get a good spot to do it from. Down here in Midtown, Bryant Park, just leaving from the foot doctor's office, checking on progress on my surgery on my foot. Everything is good. I wanted to talk about cancer and the struggles I'm having dealing with it. And I just wanted to reach out to my family and friends and just say, don't wait. Go get tested. My type of cancer was colon cancer. Started out August 2022, just pains, thinking I had to use the bathroom or whatever the case may be, and I would miss a day of work. Then I started missing two. Then I had pains, and always around Thanksgiving I seemed to get sick for some reason. And getting ready for work, sitting on the couch, and kid's mother came up to me and said, "You don't look good. You need to go to the hospital." I ain't going to the hospital. I'm going to work tonight. I'm just gonna watch TV until it's time for me to go. She's like, "You need to go. You don't look good." I'm like, "Nah, I'm gonna go." I'm sitting there, tossing, turning, trying to get comfortable, and I couldn't. 2:30 in the morning, I finally woke up and was still in pain. I went to her. I was like, "Listen, I'm gonna drive myself to the hospital. I'll call you and I'll find out what's going on." I get to the emergency room. They rush me right in, take my scan, and come back to the room. They hit me up with morphine. I'm still in pain. I can't get comfortable. They're like, "You have emergency surgery in the morning. You have a blockage." I'm like, "A blockage?" Like, "Yeah, your colon is completely blocked." Oh, okay. So I end up going to sleep after they gave me something to calm me down. Emergency surgery next morning. They put a stent in to help everything continue to pass through, so I'd be all right. And the next day I got two doctors coming to the room, and they look nervous. So I'm sitting there, I'm talking to them, and one of them comes down, he touches my knee. He's like, "Hey, we took a biopsy, and sorry to say, but you have colon cancer." So they both looked down, and I looked at them both and was like, "Well, doc, what's next?" So they both looked at each other surprised, like I was supposed to cry or whatever, and I didn't cry. I'm like, "I just want to know what's next. What do we do?" So they said to me, "We're going to get you some teams, and we're going to have everybody set up by the time you walk out of here and everything." So I went through seeing doctors and stuff, and in January 2023 I had my port put in, and then like a week later I started chemo. Chemo was it just broke my body down in ways I didn't know that it could do. I've heard stories about it. I've heard losing hair and the throwing up and not eating or whatever. I didn't have all of that. I didn't have the losing the hair. I had spells of throwing up after certain sessions. I was weak a lot of times where I couldn't even get to the bathroom. I had to call my daughters over to come help me clean up my room and get dressed, and just everything I could do by myself I couldn't do. It just broke me down, had me in the bed for days. Eating was hard, everything. It was really hard. I went through 6 sessions of that, and then they said I started losing feeling in my fingers. And once I told the doctor that, he was like, "Oh, you got one more session and then we're gonna stop. I'm gonna send you to the surgeon and see if you're a candidate for surgery." So I went to the surgeon and talked to them, and she was more excited than I was. She's like, "Yeah, you're a candidate for surgery. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, we're gonna take care of you. Don't worry about it." I'm like, "Okay, I'm fine." So I end up having surgery, major surgery. That was 8 hours. They removed my gallbladder, they removed my colon and reattached. They removed part of my stomach because it started to get infected, so they removed part of my stomach. They removed part of my liver. And I had the infusion pump put in to continue chemo afterwards. So all of that in 8 hours. 8 hours the next day in the hospital, they came and said, after breakfast, they was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just in pain." So I was hooked up to a IV, but it wasn't doing nothing for the pain. I'm opiate intolerant, so it takes a lot. And if they didn't read my records, they wouldn't have known it. So they end up hooking me up to like an epidural machine, where every time I needed pain meds, I pushed it, and they had set it for every 15 minutes I could do it. But because of my pain level and me being opiate intolerant, they had to change it. Sounds of New York, more sirens. So they had to change it to whenever I wanted it because of So they changed it to whenever I wanted it, I could hit it on demand. And after they did that, the nurses miscalculated and the thing ran out of meds. And I went through about a half an hour of just absolute excruciating pain until they came up with more meds from downstairs. I went through that. And I end up walking around the hospital the next day. They couldn't believe it. They said I shouldn't be walking, I should be in bed. But I walked around the hospital 3 times that day. The night nurse was reading my chart, and she was like, she thought I was asleep, but she came in to check on me and I was up. So she ended up sitting there talking to me because I couldn't sleep. She's like, I read your chart. I can't believe. She's like, you were in surgery for 8 hours and you were walking around. She's like, everybody in rounds couldn't believe it. And she was like, it's a blessing. I was like, yeah, thank you. I was like, I just couldn't stay in bed anymore. I was tired. She was like, no, I get it. Most people just lay there. It's like, nah, I couldn't do that. So I ended up going home 2 days early. Which was great. But I was still in a lot of pain. Still dealing with the stitches and everything. Well, staples. I had staples put in, so those were itching like crazy. Now I'm dealing with just getting infusions into my pump, and I get pains from that. It takes me 3 days to recover after chemo because of the pain. Where there's a site where they got to put the needles in. It's a lot. But what I'm getting down to is, they have put it at 50. You're supposed to go get checked. A lot of people don't get checked because they don't want to go through getting probed with this thing, and they gotta put you under to do it and stuff like that. There's other ways of doing it now. If you're going to talk to your doctor, they have it where you could just take the cup home and take a dump on a card and send it in, and they analyze it and tell you what's good. There's other ways of doing it. Don't wait to the last minute and go find out. Just go. Me, I'm saying if you're 35 and up, I got diagnosed at 46. If you're 35, I think you should start getting checked out for it, because it's coming. It's hitting a lot of people out of nowhere. It's very serious. If you don't catch it in time, it could be worse. I was at stage 4. The only thing is I was at the beginning of stage 4 and they caught it because I went in. If I had waited and kept waiting, I probably wouldn't have been able to get treated the way I got treated. The doctors I have at Mount Sinai are pretty good. Don't take it for granted, man. Just go do it, man. Like I said, you don't have to get put under and get probed if you're scared. Just talk to your doctor and go into the tube. Let them analyze it and get the results back. It's not that hard. It'll save your life. Save you from going through a whole bunch of stuff if you find out early and know. So I'm trying to post every day. There's a lot of stuff going on, but this is the first part of it, and I wanted to post this up and let people know how I'm doing, let people know what I went through and what I'm going through. So the open book, first post. Tune in. I'll make sure I keep posting.